So I've been wanting to get to know Ian and Pow for a little bit now, both as their characters and in real life. Hit me up. But today we're going to actually get to know them, and I'm going to be watching the hashtag Gaya, Pelikula, like in the movies, getting to know Ian and Pow. So if you are interested, stay tuned, keep watching. Yeah.
It's not just playing a character, but it's showing a person to the world who will effectively represent a whole bunch of people who are identifying the same way as that person.
And it's time na parang we see that gay people are in it.
Already preaching facts. Starting off,
Hello,
preaching
I'm Ian
facts.
Pangilinan.
And I'm Paulo Pangilinan.
I think it's funny how they
So
have the
my
same last
process
name.
for
It's
this
crazy.
audition was really educating myself about a lot of LGBTQ issues and why it's important for representation, because I would be the first one to admit to myself that I don't know that much.
So I had to watch together, if you're familiar
Period.
with Full House, and also documentaries and other films that highlight the LGBTQIA perspectives and representation.
And so I followed the advice of the listener and watched a bunch of documentaries, namely Disclosure and Paris is Burning, so that I know about these issues, you know what I mean? Because it's not
God,
just
we love
being a
when
character,
people educate themselves.
It's showing a person to the world who will effectively represent a whole bunch of people who are identifying the same way as that person.
I love this like mullet thing he has going on.
Si Carl, yung eager freshman student that I was. I really was that one stupid freshman, so to speak, na who's just so eager to prove himself, mostly to his family, slightly to himself.
Si Vlad naman for me is somebody who's weathered life. You know, he sort of understands the ins and outs of everything, but at the same time, you can't help but feel that some part of a person, when they grow, tends to become jaded. And that's growth in a different kind of way.
But
Yep.
I think the bigger picture here is him
I think Vlad, like,
trying to
he's like in
make
touch but out of touch
for what he
because of his
lacks in
upbringing, but also because
what
of
he
his
doesn't know about himself
experiences.
through achievements, which he has unfortunately not been able to do so because he uses grades as validation for his self-worth, which some of us sometimes also do.
So I think Vlad represents all of those people who have gone through life and thought na, hey, life sucks. Or people suck because of one experience that they've had in the past. And for people
It does
who are
happen
going
when
through
something
that,
happens to you. You tend to generalize everybody that's like that, you know. But it's important not to overly generalize people.
Everybody talks about wanting to pursue their passions, which Carl is in the process of trying to figure out. Asking hey, does the world really suck? In the case of Vlad. And in my case, I grew up a very conflicted kid. I grew up in a family na a lot of people were smart. My older siblings were smart, so I was struggling to compete and find.
Oh my God, is he the baby?
And I always picture myself as that guy who is either waiting, as in yung 60 frames per second moment na parang nag-walk slowly towards yung crush mo, tapos parang, oh my God, nandito ko pala.
I was struggling to make it seem
I love how you describe that.
I'm not just
60 frames per second moment.
So in that way, the whole process of discovery, of realizing that hey, not everybody's out to get you, and hey, not everything's a competition.
And I think that's very charming, and it's time na parang we see that gay people are in it. Kasi I've mostly auditioned for commercials, never a series, of course. Kasi I'm a student.
Well, bitch, we're glad you auditioned for this because you
I've never
are
considered
doing
myself a
fantastic as
legitimate
Carl.
actor until I'm trying to right now. But yeah, I've never considered myself a legitimate actor. So what I've been doing were commercials, 2-day shoots, ganyan.
I mean, the process as a whole was very holistic. Kahit audition pa lang siya, we were already made aware of the important points that we need to know regarding LGBTQ issues, regarding how to portray these characters, regarding the stakes of portraying these characters.
Those things that you've seen that I've done are me selling products. For me, this isn't a product. Guys, a pelikula is not a product.
There's also a lot of humanizing the characters right then and then. Because a lot of the auditions that I've been to in the past have been more of like, okay, here's a character, let's see if you fit, let's see if you look the part, let's see if you sound the part. But this one, it was really like a whole process of like trying to figure out what the character is, trying to figure out how the character registers as you. So it was really refreshing because there was a lot more artistic process of it on the side of me as an actor of trying to figure out this character along with the writers and along with the artistic.
That's interesting. They like slotted them for the parts, and they had to like figure out the character. I think that's interesting because that kind of like almost forces people to not forces. It almost like it kind of just pushes people to do a good job.
To see that these things are possible. When people see that these things are possible, their horizons broaden, and then they get to see themselves in the mirror and say that you can do this. Yeah, I think it holds already a special place in my heart in that regard.
It's gonna be such a huge honor because I think in the Philippines talaga, gay representation has not been done as well as it's supposed to be. A lot of the characters that we see in Philippine media are caricatures na parang puro pinagtatawanan lang, or they're obsessed with, you know, matters of the body, na puro ganun lang yung character nila.
No other role matters, of course.
It's the same here. It's the same here.
Yeah. Because then I would be able to live.
People are more
the
obsessed with visually than what's inside, and they tend to
either they themselves have experience or
put themselves in a box
or see it
because they see only one type of person, and then they're immediately just only attracted to that type of person when they're probably missing out on something amazing. You know,
seriously, they are so much
they
more
look deeper
substantial
within.
than that. They are not just the butt of the joke. They are not just
period.
People who are obsessed with sex. You know, they are real living
Period.
human beings. And for me to be able to like convey that message to the people who will watch this series, that would be the biggest honor.
Well, Geges talked to me about it. It was a passion project, and that's what I see it as. So I think it's an advocacy for us, especially looking at this room. I see queer people. That matters. That really matters because it means that I no longer have to pretend that I am, that overly sexualized or heavily portrayed ideal masculine type of guy. Or if I choose to be, then that's okay. But then it broadens the perspective. If this happens, if this project happens, I see that we are going to be able to start a conversation wherein we include more people. And if we include more people, diversity happens. And if that occurs, then we would all be able to accept each other, tell our stories, bring them to light, and hopefully make a positive social impact.
Well, I definitely do agree with it and respect it because at the end of the day, like when somebody in the audience sees a guy, for example, portraying a trans woman as a straight man, there might be the danger of like interpreting being trans as playing dress up for a straight man. You know, it's a guy pretending to be a woman because that's what they see on screen.
Damn straight, as in, damn straight. You see what I did there? Well, yes, because people in the LGBTQ community, I've heard rumors na parang like their projects are taken away from them just because of their disclosure of their sexual identity and gender.
It's not just a role, it's not just a trophy, it's not just art for the sake of looking artistic. You know, it's portraying people's real lives, and by having this sort of movement, you cast all of these people and give them the opportunity to have the front row ticket to actually playing these characters.
Yeah,
it's it'll help not only, realistically queer people get jobs, but it'll also help the general public who will be consuming this kind of, to identify na it's not just a role. It's not just playing dress up for some people. Some people live these lives, and it's important to portray it in the best way.
Yes.
When this is seen by people, then I think, and it hopefully do a good job at it, then it will bring people to understand that we're just doing our jobs. We're professionals trying to make it in this world, and that we're doing something that we love, and everyone should be able to do that. Not just LGBTQ communities, but also the poor, the marginalized, and those who don't have a voice.
The amount of facts that were in this Get to Know, bitch, I got to know all I needed to know. I got to know that they are kings of this industry. See, there's a difference between when someone, no matter if they're straight or if they're a part of the LGBTQIA community, there's a difference when someone is knowledgeable of their role and have actually seeked guidance from people who are in the actual community. You can tell the difference. And honestly, for me, yes, like, LGBTQIA people need to portray these roles more. Like, I'm fine with a straight guy portraying, like, this is me personally, this is personally my opinion. It is not reflective of anybody else in the LGBTQIA community, but me personally, I'm fine with, like, a straight guy or someone other than what that character is portraying that character, as long as they do it in a respectful way. They educate themselves on the role. It is not a caricature. It is not something that is just there for dress up and just there to entertain. But on the other hand, like, LGBTQIA community portrays it the best. Like, if you get a trans woman who's been through those experiences to play a trans woman, then you know, like, that she is going to portray it in a correct way. There's no way that she can't, because she's been through those experiences. Same thing with a trans man. He's been through those experiences. Gay, queer, bisexual, lesbian. You get what I'm saying? So for Ian and Pao to just be so educated on the community and just aware really touches my heart, because it just shows that this show is something more than just entertainment. So thank you, Ian, Pao, thank you, Han, thank you guys, everybody that's involved in this project, for being more than the project. So guys, that's going to be it for this reaction. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like more reactions like this, reacting to, kind of just off the script type of stuff, let me know in the comment section below. Also hit that like button. And if you are new, hello. If you are returning, hello again. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as that bell notification so you can join the Seay family. Here we're all about positivity and love. So if you're about that, hit that button. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media at Jordie Seay on Instagram and Twitter. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.